Monday, 29th of May 2023. In this news flash, I'm going to talk about this guy, Lindsey Graham. This guy is a senior American senator, and he joined the current trend of political tourism and went to Kiev. Now, way back in 2014, he made some very disturbing statements in Kiev, and when the special military operation started, he was the one that when the journalist asked him, is there an off-ramp for Russia? And he boldly proclaimed, there will be no off-ramp for Russia. This guy, people would like to label him as a newcon. For me, that may be true, that he is a newcon and he is in that newcon grouping, but this guy is a psychopath. He's a full-blown Zazi. Listen to his words. Russians are dying. We have never spent money so well. The fact that these investments can return to the United States in the form of a nuclear war, Senator Graham does not think. It's because he doesn't care about the fate of America. And Elon Musk has also had something to say about this. Elon Musk and network users criticized Republican Senator Lindsey Graham's statement about the benefits of Washington's spending in the conflict in Ukraine. Under a zero-edge tweet that cited Graham's words about the best investment ever, Musk wondered, ever? The vast majority of users agreed that to consider spending on killing people something enjoyable is a manifestation of psychopathic. Many also added that Graham is the true face of American political system and called for him to stop sponsoring the conflict in Ukraine. Earlier in a conversation with Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, Senator Graham said that the Russians were dying and it was the most successful expenditure of money by the American authorities. The bloodthirstiness of American politicians is reaching unimaginable proportions. And I would agree with that. The reality is this: if you are a decent human being, you cannot celebrate the killing of people. But do not forget, this guy represents a regime that had zero problems with killing 500,000 children in Iraq. They had zero problems with killing over 11 million people in the Middle East. That is the regime. Now, I'm asking myself this question. Ordinary Russians in Russia sees and hears these things. What does the Americans imagine goes through the minds of those Russians? Does the Americans really think that they can ever sit at a negotiation table with the Russians and negotiate an outcome for Ukraine? The realities are that the European economies is crashing and burning. The American dollar is being dumped by the South because the Americans weaponized that dollar. Now, Lindsey Graham makes a statement like this, and the Americans, there are people in America that imagine there can be a good negotiated outcome in the Ukraine. It will never happen. The Russians will dictate the terms, and it will be a case of taking it or leaving it. This American regime under Biden specifically has destroyed all bits of positivity that there might have existed outside the West for America. The Americans, Lindsey Graham is saying the things that the whole Newcon cabal thinks. And the Russians hear this. And for me, as a South African, sitting here in South Africa, looking at this, hearing those words, it was absolutely shocking. And it made me understand why the West has been turning a blind eye on the atrocities committed against the farmers in South Africa, because this is in their genes. Lindsey Graham is a psychopath. Lindsey Graham conducts himself exactly like a true-blooded fascist, Zazi psychopath. And if you are an American citizen, you should be ashamed that shit like this represents you. But the cold reality is, you gave him the power to do what he is doing. You allowed him that leeway. And I do not understand that the American people have not realized what the rest of the world thinks of Americans. Americans are hated by people across the globe. Why? Because they've been killing people across the globe. But the way things are coming together in the Middle East spells nothing good for the Americans. And the fact that they are so belligerent towards Russia that they celebrate the killing of Russians towards China is not holding in any good news for the future for America. Because let's take nuclear off the table and just be rational and objective. The West does not stand a chance against Russia and China. And if you add Iran into the mix, it is game, set and match. But there are foolish people in the West that are living in that dream world that America and America's military is unbeatable. I've got news for you. Look at what's happening in the Ukraine. The whole Western world is fighting against Russia. Yes, there's not formal Western boots on the ground, but there's a lot of NATO soldiers in Ukraine, and they are being killed at an alarming rate, and the West hides it from the public. The West keeps on pumping weapons in there, and people like Lindsey Graham cheers it on. He does not care about the citizens being killed in the Donbass. He sees it as a good investment. Think about that on this Monday morning. Think about that. For me, I see pain and disaster and suffering in the future of America. Thank you. Please give me a like and a subscribe and share the thing.